So welcome everyone, and I'm honored again. Every week I'm honored. Every time this happens, I'm so glad that you show up and participate and trust me with your artistic abilities. I think it'll be a fun one. So we're going to do the Enchanted Forest first. So this is a two-part. There's a lot of detail in the tree. I'm not sure if you discovered that when you were drawing it. You could see how much detail there actually is. You can have a look at it over the week and be excited about how we're going to paint inside. So inside looks a lot different than the outside of this tree. This is two trunks, two trees coming together. It's like a canopy. So that's what we're painting today, and in different colors. It's not all the same color. So we should do just fine with that. Colors that we're looking for are sap green, ochre, indigo, alizarin crimson, or if you have another one called carmine, which is very similar to alizarin crimson. We're looking for a reddish pink for the flowers on the tree. Raw umber, which is brown. So if you have only a light brown, you can add a little bit of blue to it and it'll get darker. So let's get into art mode. So we'll just take those deep breaths. And when you take that deep breath in, when you let it go, just make some noise. Just give yourself permission to unless you're with someone that, you know, it's not okay to do that. But when you take a deep breath in and then when you let it go, just sigh or moan and just let that really go. And I think you'll find that feels even a little bit different from just exhaling. So we'll do 3 deep breaths with our little moan at the end or our little sigh. So first deep breath in and hold it for a second and release. Doesn't that feel good? If you've done that, I hope you have enjoyed that. Trust yourself, it'll be fine. Second deep breath in and release. And our third deep breath in, and this is being recorded, so they're catching me on camera. So that's, whatever it is, it's not harmful. Third deep breath in and hold it for a second and smile and moan or sigh when you let it go. Oh, that feels great. So we'll just let go of all the tension so far of the day. And we'll get right into some art. So I have actually 3 containers of water today. That indigo or the green, it's I didn't say that color that we're going to use. It's a deep green or a viridian green. So that's what's going to go in the tree. So I'm sorry I didn't say that at the beginning. That's one of the other colors. And but because I'm rinsing my brushes off in that darker color, it's going to get pretty muddied pretty quickly. So, and brushes, I have a 0, I have a 3, that's a secondary 3, I have a 2, I have an angled brush. So I'm not sure if you have one of those, but these are quite good for a number of different applications. And then I have a 6, a bigger brush, and these are all pointed brushes except for my angled brush. Paper towel. We will not need a blow dryer for today. If as long as I remember when I send out the instructions, if we need a blow dryer, I'll try to remember to have you get that together. And if it's not something that's on the instructions, then I'll give a few moments at the beginning and say you have time to go and get that. So again, thank you for being with me. And I'm just going to turn the camera around the other way so we can see my drawing. There we go. So there's my drawing. So you can see there's a lot of detail in the background, but we're only working around the outside today. And actually just a little bit in the center because that's where we want our dark color to indicate that path. So there we go. There's our picture. And with that, I'll just move a blank sheet in front. Just get a little bit of water here. All right, so I'm just going to show you, this is the color indigo when I'm not adding any water to it. It's really dark. It is blue, So if I spread that out a little bit, you'll see that it's blue, but indigo is really dark. And the other color we're going to put on here, if you have dark green, you can use dark green, or deep, actually it's deep green, this is called. Or you can use a viridian green. So it's a little lighter, a little bit lighter. But what we want are those deep colors on that base of that tree. So again, that's deep green. And this is viridian green. So we'll just start with our indigo. And I'm using my brush. I'm using a number 3 brush because I want the brush strokes to show. So starting with my indigo, I'm going to start from the corner, coming up. Just going to do this little path. Now I've got those flowers there, so I want to go around those edges. And then I'm going to go around the edge, the inner edge of the tree. So if you don't have a steady hand, this is a great project for you because nothing in this needs to be perfect. It's not, I have this branch that I've drawn that comes down into the center of the forest. But even that doesn't, you can, if you've drawn the lines, you can paint on the lines, but it doesn't have to be perfect. If it's wiggly on the sides, if you end up with a little branch sticking out, that's okay. And you can see I'm painting over this again with a really deep indigo. So I do want this one to be fairly dark, that branch that comes into the center. And then I'll go back to my edges. I have another branch that's kind of curling in. And I'm going to go back over that with really deep indigo. And if you have little bumps and ridges on there, that's okay. I'll follow that around. And there's some spots that will jut in because it is an old tree. I'm going to do this little branch coming in. And these will be important, these little branches that are coming in, these little curls. So I turn that light off, maybe you can see that a little bit better. And right down. And I don't want this bottom edge to be straight either. I'm going to make it zigzag or a little wiggly. So I'm looking for a little bit of detail just coming off the bottom of that. Now some of that's dried. It won't be quite as shiny on there. So now I'm going to start just to bring a little bit of that color up. And I want to curve that color. I want to make that color come up like the tree is growing. So this tree on the right-hand side is growing from the inside at the bottom. We're going to give it direction and then it's curving over. So these are two huge trees. So this tree on the other side also is coming in. This is the bottom and it's coming up. So we don't mind putting those lines in there. So you can see I'm leaving white spaces. And this tree is going to curve over towards the top, towards the other tree. So we definitely want lines there that indicate that that tree is growing. And then up the very top corner, I'm going to make it very, very dark. Almost invisible up there. It's a little bit spooky.
Kathy, sorry, I'm
Yeah.
unsure what colors I'm using. I think I started with Viridian on the left side, and then I went to Indigo on the right side, but I'm not sure if that's what you had directed. I'm a little confused. Sorry.
No, we will use Viridian, but this is all Indigo right now. So wherever you've put the Viridian on the one side, just use the next color we will use is Viridian. So just leave what you've got on the one side and then add the second color. So if I show you that, we've got one tree coming this way, and then we're going to add the Viridian in between. So if you've got that, and so the other tree is going to be Indigo on the other side and Viridian where it was white.
Okay, thank you.
Does that make sense? So sorry about that confusion, but yes, we're using both colors, but firstly we were putting on the Indigo. And we want those lines to show. So if you don't have defining lines for your angles, go ahead and put on some extra dark lines. And we're going to let that dry for a couple of seconds here. We'll go back with the Indigo. And there are lines at the bottom. There's two defined spaces that are your path, the starting of the path. We're not doing all of the lines, just these two. One is wider than the other. They don't need to be perfect. You just need to indicate that's the starting of the path, or where it's darkest. We've got some undergrowth or some roots. And we've got some little grasses growing at the side. Maybe there's smaller trees starting. This is just Indigo. We're coming up into the forest. So this forest goes on further than that one. This is a single tree. It goes farther than there, but we're going to stop with our indicator. And we have a little patch on the right-hand side underneath that curl. So those few moments that we delayed and let some of that indigo dry at the sides, we're going to now go, if you've got deep green, use deep green. If you've got Viridian, use Viridian. And we're going to come up onto the white sections. If you start to pick up indigo, we want that green to show. We want it to look like there's two tones in this tree. So if you pick up indigo when you're painting, just lift off some of that, and it's perfectly acceptable. In this, we want to have those lines. So don't think, uh-oh, I've got brush strokes. We want the brush strokes to show. So I'm taking that green, that Viridian, right up the side. We're covering in all the white. Just on the outsides of the picture. So you can see by having had that dark on there first, now we put that green out, and we've given direction with our deep indigo underneath. You get the look of tree growth, of a tree trunk. And still staying with that direction. Coming toward the center for a canopy. And we'll fill in that total canopy over top. And if you like, you want to make that a little bit darker, a little bit deeper. If you need to cover over any white, you can go back with a little bit of indigo. And I'm just going at the bottom of that curve just to bring that together. So that's where we're going to stop with our enchanted forest. So you'll have the week to perfect it, move things around. If you're not happy with what you've done, if you want to redo it, you've got the idea. And that's as far as we're going to go with this picture. Have a good week, everyone.